Туди. Ну, взагалі, або мені, або кажуть. Вона буде більш невимушено виглядати, ніж чоловік.
Погано, що годинник, щоб було видно на таймінг. Да?
Зворотній відлік, але там годинник.
Ага, оце, так? Да?
Ну, це за таймінг, і там зворотній відлік, так?
Так, ми почнемо за 20 секунд. Це початок ефіру. А якщо вам треба по часу орієнтуватися, то там буде нічого.
Ви сказали, не більше 7 хвилин.
серпня.
28th of August, Ukrinform, Ukraine Media Center is starting its work. My name is Svitlana Strokach, and we've announced the marathon, and I will introduce my friends. Oleg Durmasenko, veteran, father of a died hero of Ukraine-Russia war. Svitlana, head of the Ukrainian Identity Department. Katerina Kalinska, representative of civil group Trukhanov Ostrov. Natalia Krushenko, the main trainer of the National Council Physical and Sports Rehabilitation of Ukrainian Defenders. Oleg, tell me please, what did you remember about the race and why it was special? Good morning. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Well, first of all, I would like to start with saying that we're here to sum it up. Because the race is happening during a very hard situation, and it happened after the tragic events in Chernihiv. And of course, we made some corrections, and I would like to first of all emphasize the date is 29th of August. That's a very important date for us. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to remind people about that. This date is very relevant. Maybe it's more relevant than the 8th of May, because Ukrainian heroes keep dying, and of course we do everything we can since 2018 to improve the status of 29th of August, a Memorial Day for Ukrainian heroes. And getting back to our history and comparing our events is very hard. As I mentioned, it's not the right time. Before the 5th of August, I was defending our country, and I'm thankful to my brothers in arms who, despite of the hard time, found the capability and did the race. If we take the last two events in 2022, and I didn't really count on that as a co-founder of this national race that serves us as an event of commemoration. In this year, certain problems happened as well. Just for you to understand the overall picture, I would like to once again emphasize the historical meaning of that event so that we can do some comparison. In 2018, we did it at an exhibition center, the National Exhibition Session. We had around 350 participants. Despite the fact that we didn't do any advertising, we did it on the spot. We didn't have any experience, but when we've met for the first time and they told me about this idea in the state that was initiated by George Lutz, and We've met at the exhibition center. We exchanged our presents. He gave me a cross that was made out of a bullet that killed his son, and ironically his son died on the 29th of August, just like my boy Losha died. And at the time we started doing that, and they're running from estate to estate. We wanted to make it a larger scale. We wanted to make it like a flash mob, to have Ukrainians running together. And during the next event, we've increased the number of participants. We had more experience, and we did it on the Trukhanov Island. And we had up to 700 participants, and our event became even more recognizable. In 2020, unfortunately, there were some circumstances. We had COVID restrictions. This is why we have to postpone our event at the Independence Square, and we moved it to Mezhygirya. We had around 800 participants, despite the fact that we've had to relocate our event. But it became even more powerful. And in 2021, finally, an event happened that we counted on, where we attracted as many people as we could at the same time, together with our partners. We engaged all of the regions. We formed organization and coordination committees in different regions, starting from Mariupol to Uzhgorod. So smaller communities joined us finally, and it became a very powerful event. We all know that this shameful full-scale invasion started, and the whole thing slowed down. But in our hearts, it went on. In our hearts and our memories. And if you draw a parallel, today, considering this format, more than 6,500 people were registered, and even more people ran unofficially. And I would like to draw your attention to the list of our co-organizers in our coordination committee who help us shoulder to shoulder to organize this event. Well, first of all, that's Department of Youth and Sports, the Ministry in Veteran Affairs, the Ministry of Sports and Youth, Sports for All organization. That's basically also the Revolution of Dignity Museum. And I don't want to offend those who I did mention, because I'm still adapting to the civilian life, and just I'm confusing the names, and I don't want to mess the names of your organizations. So overall, this year, we had to postpone our event. It could have been more powerful, but we received an advice to make it a less large-scale event, and because of the possible provocation, because having veterans and their families together is like a sensitive thing for our enemy. This is why we had to announce that we are breaking down into smaller groups, and we're focusing on our local venues. But nevertheless, the scale of that event didn't suffer. And on the contrary, it became an online event. And we've spread the information on a larger scale. So that would sum it up. Thank you, Oleg. Svitlana, let's talk about the results of that race. So you mentioned 6.5 thousand registrations. What locations were most active? I guess Ukrainians abroad also joined this campaign. Hello? Yes, that's right. Ukraine suffers this tragedy, and we go through that huge challenge. Best Ukrainians are fighting for independence, and our duty is to commemorate their actions. And this is, I think, very relevant. This is why on the 26th of August we had the 6th annual race to commemorate fallen heroes. And also it continues to happen in Ukraine and outside of the country. This patriotic race is a format to commemorate people who protect our Ukrainian sky. These initiatives have a very deep educational meaning to bring up a younger generation of Ukrainians that need to learn more about the example of our defenders who fight for our independence. As Oleg said, this patriotic race happened in online format, and it didn't stop people from joining more group events in many villages and cities, in military installations, including those outside of Ukraine where we have veterans on the rehabilitation. They joined the race on larger stadiums, on avenues, wherever it was possible. And this year, our national team Invictus Games joined that initiative, that they do training in Croatia and German Düsseldorf, and they understand the importance of that race, and they suffered from wounds. They saw their brothers in arms dying, and they understand the meaning. Oleg told us about the history behind that event. I would like to say that it already gained international appraisal, and I would like to say that if you follow the link on the official page in Facebook this year, it became even larger. We covered lots of stories about our heroes, so please read them, repost them, like them. A person is alive while the memory about him is alive. And as Oleg said, 6,500 people registered, and we had lots of people who didn't register, but still they joined the event. The region with most participants, you can see that on the screen: Kiev, Kirovohradska, Dnipropetrovska Oblast, and other regions. I would like to focus on Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast. That's true. Organizers can confirm that. Lots of people identify them as people from Luhansk and Donetsk, and that's astonishing. They joined other groups in Dnipro and Mykolaiv. They ran in their small villages. Lots of them are DPOs, actually. And of course, this year, just like in 2022, Ukrainians were supported by many foreign countries that joined the initiative. Out of 6,500 registered participants, around 500 people joined our team abroad. 37 countries were engaged. Together with Ukraine, We have countries like Georgia, Canada, Germany, Ireland, England, Scotland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, other countries. And I would like to mention Ukrainian embassy. Would like to express my appreciation to their help, and we're inviting you to join that event. Please spread the word and join the next race, and we hope the next year will be the year of our victory. You can follow our official Facebook page. You can send your questions to the Ministry of Veterans. We are open to the dialogue, and we will be happy to hear from you and how to improve our event. Thank you for your attention. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. By the way, the representatives of the Ukraine Media Center joined that race and had a little bit of a run here in Kiev. And what do you think is the role for such a race to commemorate our fallen heroes? Well, for starters, yes. Those races happens on the Memorial Day. So we try to organize our event closer to that date. And despite the fact that we had changes, we planned to organize it as a really massive event on Trukhanov Island, but instead we did it online. So despite that, many people from Kiev, lots of people from different age categories, they went to Trukhanov Island, they ran, and we really appreciate the local authorities that helped us, and to all of the participants. And with each year, this event becomes more powerful. I've noticed that on Trukhanov Island, we had many people that weren't just friends or relatives of those who died during the war. There were people we wanted people to be engaged, and we wanted them to know a lot about these heroes. We spread information about each hero, and the main point is commemorating them. So I'm thankful to all people who spread the word about the fallen heroes, about specific people, their names, and glory to the heroes. Natalia, we do understand that this campaign wasn't about organizing a marathon. It wasn't about covering certain distance. It was about commemoration, but it has the sports component, of course. So tell me more about that. Hello. I'd like to remind you that the distances were 2, 5, and 10 kilometers, and we wanted to prepare people for these distances. So this is why we did open trainings, and we still keep inviting our combatants. Please get prepared for the next campaign. We want you to run the longer distance without harming your health. So we are trying to invite as many combatants as possible for open trainings that are absolutely free. And we would like to invite you to the Yarmy Sports Center, and they also doing sports rehabilitation for combatants and their families. This is why we are thankful to those who joined the campaign, and we're waiting for you next year. Thank you. Thank you, Oleg. As far as I understand, this tradition will be kept next year, and the race is going to happen. Am I right? We do hope. We're always ready to do that event next year. That's very important for our state, for our nation. And more than that, this race brings a huge message for the patriotic upbringing. And people who went related to these events, it was important for them to care about it. Because while you're doing your everyday routine, some people breathing gunpowder and suffering in the trenches. So this race is a very important campaign to join Ukrainians together, join people together, and we hope that we will achieve a victory next year. And next year, we will do it. We will do this event the way it was supposed to be, in all regional centers with a very powerful online stream. And each year something happens, whether it's COVID or full-scale invasion and orc attack. So our nation has proven how DNA is powerful throughout the years. So we will overcome. Our race will happen, and the memory will stay forever. The memory about our fallen heroes. Do you have any questions to our speakers? Good morning, Ukrinform. Are you planning to do more events like that throughout the year? I will answer that question. No, we don't plan to do that. The reason for that is this race has certain limitations, like time limitations, and I mentioned that it is about commemorating the Memorial Day. If we do it throughout the year, we are destroying the symbolism. It's the same as celebrating Christmas throughout the year. It just doesn't work out right. So this is why we are celebrating at this specific date. But we don't do that on the 29th. We normally do that 2 or 3 days before that. And the reason for that is you can gather the maximum number of people who care. Because on the 29th, we have many problems, other events like national events, and this is why we have less possibilities to engage people. So the main message is having a big flash mob campaign before 29th of August to commemorate our heroes with rising on the flag, with singing the anthem. And can you please clarify the number of people who registered in Ukraine and outside? Like, what is the exact number of people? This year, using online form, we had 6,341 people officially registered. Almost 500 of them are foreigners, and to be more precise, that would make I'm sorry. Yes, almost 537 countries. So we had 500 of people. So we had, in some locations, it was just one person. In some locations, there were groups, and we are still doing the information campaign. We are raising awareness, and also other people who failed to register, they also run and also join the campaign. Thank you for that, and we will be looking forward to doing that next year, and we'll follow the news. So hopefully we can do that offline. Next time we'll have more participants, and Ukrinform in Ukraine Media Center will continue at 11 o'clock. talk about Mariupol war crimes, and we will talk about the legal aspect of that. Please stay with us.